Hey everyone, this is Daniel, and in today's video, we're going to take a look at Power Automate for Desktop PDF Creator using a Word template. Now, taking the data from the form and converting that into a customized PDF document has always been on high demand. And so in this video, I'm going to show you how you can do that with Power Automate for Desktop. What we're going to use is with the customized form which comes with Power Automate for Desktop. We're going to take the data of that, go ahead and put it into a Word document, and then convert that into a PDF file. And this will all be done automated using Power Automate for Desktop. So stick around, there's a lot to learn. This is very important. But first, here's my intro video. So let's get started. First, I want to focus on this Word document template because this is the place where the Power Automate Desktop's robotic process automation will come and automatically populate this. So we need to have this template ready. And building this is pretty straightforward. And some of you may already be familiar with this. And if you're not, let me at least show you the basics. So for something like this, you actually go to your file, and I'm going to go ahead and create a new document. So we'll just start with a blank document. And here we want to first take care of the header and the footer. In case you don't know what the header and the footer is, that's fine. You just go to the search on the top and you just search for header and footer. And then right over here, it says edit header and footer, add header and footer. Either one of them, just go and click on edit and it opens up this new tab. And right over here on the top, it'll go and create the header and the footer. This is something where you can go and put something for making sense what the title is, put in your company logo, like that design you put already over here. So I'm going to go and say something in effect that this is going to be Contoso.incorporated cash donation form, all right? And then I can go and clean this up a little bit too. You can go to the home screen, go to make it center, go ahead and make it as a nice title, do all that jazz that you want to do, right? This is right over here. And in the bottom, you can go and put in your company logo, you can go and put in a little bit more information, but you get the overall idea of what this whole header and footer is, okay? Not very important, but at least you need to take care of that. So we go back to a header and footer, and then I'm going to go and close it. So now we need to go ahead and put in some other stuff. Now, key thing is, remember, we're going to be using the recorder functionality to do a lot of the steps creation or these actions creation in the robotic process automation. And one of the things about that recorder is it's very picky. It needs to be able to easily identify the sections of what it is going to go ahead and populate or automatically do the recording. So therefore, for something like this, it's best that you use the table functionality. And so for that, you basically come to your insert. In the insert, you go ahead and put in the table. And in the table, you can actually go and do some designing. So ours is actually just going to be two different columns. And just basically double check. I'll go back to my completed one. And as you can see, this is basically a table. It's got column number 1 and column number 2. So we'll actually go ahead and replicate that. So I'm going to go back to my one in designing, go to the tables, and in the tables, I'm going to add 1, and I'll go ahead and fill it up, and I'll go and add 2. And then after that, you can go and now populate this a little bit over here, kind of make it a little bit more designing. And then we start putting in some information. Key things I will need is things such as the first name. I'll go ahead and copy that, do a Control C, Control V. I'll go ahead and need a last name, so I'll put that in. I'll also need some other stuff, like your email address. I'll need the email address, okay? So put that in over here. I'll need the phone number, put that in, phone number. I'll go ahead and need your address. Then I'll need the city, state. I'll need the amount, because what is the amount that you're going to donate? I'll need a reason, like why are you going ahead and donating this amount? And then I also need one more row, so I'll click on that. I'll click on insert, and I'm going to go insert below. And then in the insert below, I want to need your company name. Okay, so at least we've got this going, but now I want to make it a little bit more cleaner. So after that, we can go in and actually use some of this design option that is given over here. There's a bunch of them, so we can go and use some of this, or in our case, go ahead and make it completely blank as well. So in the completed one that I showed you, I went and made all of this blank. All right, so I would come over here, and in these design ones, I've gone and made no border whatsoever. Now, you could go ahead and add a little bit more design altogether over here. So for this example, this little design template which is there, love it. Go ahead and use that. Then go ahead and increase that a little bit too. So make it nice and big, right? So it makes it a little bit more professional. You can stretch that out, but you're getting the whole idea. Like this is how we need for the recorder to be able to do a much more accurate recording. And then once you've gone ahead and highlight that, you go over here to the table design and you go to the borders, remove the borders altogether. And so now this doesn't even have a table look to it. It actually looks like a form. So this is how I went ahead and built my overall form that you've seen over here. This is the place where the recorder will automatically populate. Get it? Make sense? Cool. One more thing about the Word document that we just created is you need to save that copy or that template in an easily accessible place, because that is where we're going to be leveraging that for the Power Automate for desktop, right? So in my case, I've made it as easy as possible. Is I've gone ahead and saved it in a location that I know very well. I also went and made sure that I didn't have any folder names with any spaces or anything like that. No, this is a very simple place, very easily accessible, no permissions problems whatsoever, right? Keep that in mind. And here's the document that we'll be leveraging. Okay, so I'm going to now go back into our Power Automate for desktop. You are very familiar with this environment. I've gone and done 10 other videos on this topic. You are familiar with this. So I'll go and click a new flow, and in the new flow, I'll go ahead and give it a name. And then in the name, after that, I'm going to click on create. The name's pretty simple. I just call that as the PDF creator, PDF generator using custom form with Word template, something like that. You know, just you also do something that you're familiar with, okay? So now that we've got this, we need to start building on some actions. And there's going to be quite a few actions, but we'll walk them through it. And it's easier because the recorder is going to build a majority of them. So first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and get time, because when I'm saving those documents, I just want to make sure I put a timestamp. So I'll go and search for something which says get current time. And there you go. There is something called get current time. I'll drag it. I'll drop it over here. This is one of those things where I can't have any control over the variable name, but I like the variable name as is. So I'll keep that. And then I'll go and keep the current date and time, system time zone. Everything is good. I'll just leave that as is. Now the next section is to go ahead and build a custom form, and that custom form falls under the display messages. If I just go and search for display right over here, display custom form, I'll drag it and I'll drop it. And then once we're here, I'll go and double click on that. And this is where we'll start building our form. Now let me pause over here for a minute. Some of you may ask, hey, Daniel, why are we building this custom form for the user input? Because we already had that Word document. Now remember, the Word document is custom designed so that it automatically gets converted into a PDF, and then we can use that PDF for giving people or the donors, say, tax exemption. This custom form is a lot more easier for the end users to use, because say when we trigger the flow, the form comes up and they just fill the form. And they could be anyone, the end users or the person who's actually the administrator who's in charge of this. This form is so much more easier than going ahead and using that Word document itself, because Word document, you can be familiar with the Word document and how it is built. In this case, there's no design or anything. It's just the form, you fill it up, and then the Automate flow takes care of the whole thing. That is why entry over here is the best place to do it, and not leverage the Word form for the entry. Let the automation process take care of that. Now the Word document that we built had some preset fields over there, and we need to be able to replicate those fields right over here. And so that's what we're going to create. So the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and grab our text input. This text input is basically going to be our header. So I'm going to leave that text input as is, but in the label, I'm going to go and say submit form. All right. I don't have anything in the default. I'm not going to put anything in the default. I'm just going to leave that as is, and then everything else looks good. All right. So if I go and click on done, it actually closes the form, which I don't want it. What you do is go and click on the preview, and you can see that this is what the submit form looks like. Now let's go and start adding all those important fields that we need. So again, go ahead and grab the text input, and this input is going to be the first name. So I'm going to actually correct the IDs because I'm going to be referencing them in the flow. So I'm going to call this as first name. Keep no blanks whatsoever. You can go and put in label in front of it. You can go and put in var in front of it, whatever you're going to need. I will just go and put that as first name over here. And then here, I'm going to go ahead and say first name in the label. All right. I'm just actually going to say first name. And as you can see, now it's beginning to make sense on the preview over here. So I'm going to keep that as is. All that, go ahead and grab the next one. I'm going to go and now put this one in, and this one is going to be last name. So on the ID side, I'm going to put that as one word, last name. But over here on the label, this is going to be the last name. Because if you now notice, this label is what you actually see in the form. ID is actually going to be the value to which it is assigned to, almost like a variable. So that's why on the top, for the ID, I don't put any spaces. But on the label, yes, I'm going and putting the spaces. All right, so we've got the first name, we've got the last name. There's a few more things we've got to go and do. We've got to go ahead and add now the phone number. So I'm going to come back over here on the ID. I'm just going to go and say phone number. In the label itself, I actually want the full one. So I'm going to try this. I'm going to do Control-C, Control-V. All right, cool, it works. I'll just go and put in a space. And then now we are moving along. So let me just go and add a few more so we can just save some time in this video. So as you see, I've gone and added a whole bunch of them. So in addition to the first name, last name, and phone number, I've got email, address, city, state, zip code, amount, donation for, like what is the reason for this donation. We already got the amount up over here, and then the company name, like which company is actually making this donation. Now, after all said and done, as you can see, the form is over here. We do need to be able to submit it. And therefore, for that, we got to have the submit form. The submit button, and then the submit button is as is, the title, everything is okay, it already has its ID. So honestly, we are done over here. Now, if you want to go ahead and jazz this up a little bit, there is other things you can do. So for example, I'll just click on done, and then I'll come back into my custom designer. Right now you see that we're not clicked anywhere, but if I go click outside, you've got options to put some stuff. A background image can be there. Fill mode can be go and put it in a different way. So you've got more options to design this as is. I'm leaving mine as it is because I just want to focus on building the form and using it. But for your production use, go ahead and give this a little bit more style, give it a little bit more taste, maybe your company logo, some images like that. So it really adds the nice wow factor to it. But for this demo, we are done. So I'm now going to go and click on done. And I'll go and click on save. Now the next few steps is to go ahead and launch our Word document and also the template that we created. And I've got a little bit of bad news for you. There is no out-of-the-box launch Word functionality or action. And here's what I mean. If I go on the top and if I go search for launch, there is only launch for these browsers. There is launch for Excel. There is launch for Outlook. Heck, if I even go and do a search for Word, there's nothing. There's this. Have no fear, there is some workaround for that, and that is what I'm going to focus on the next 3 actions. So the next thing I do is I want to go and set the location of that Word document that we just built. So just to make sure, I go up to my automated document library over here, and this is it. I open it up and I go ahead and grab that entire location, the full URL path of this. All right, so I'm going to go and now highlight the whole thing, and I'll do a Control-C, so at least I have that full path. Next, I'm going to go and assign it to a variable. All right, so in my variable, I'm going to go and now set a variable. I'll drag it, I'll drop it, and I'm going to go and call this one as the var path. So I'll just highlight the whole thing and I'll say var file path. And in the value, I'll just paste it. This is the one that we just copied. I don't need to do anything else. I'll just go ahead and click on save. And once I'm here, if you open it up, you'll see that it looks like it's got a single code on each side, but that's not something that we added. It automatically, just Power Automate for desktop automatically added. All right, so next is we've got the location. We've got the actual file location. Now we need to work with the command prompt. So I am going to now use an action called as OpenCMD. This is the one. So I'll grab that, drag it, and I'll drop it. And this is all that we need to do is open it up on the command prompt. Don't do anything else over here. Just go and click on save, because in the real world scenario, this is something we would have done is I would have opened up a command prompt and that actually it is an action. So we're going to replicate that over here as an action. After that, we need to write a command prompt section. So I'm going to go and type in something as write, and right over here, write to command session is an action. Drag it, drop it over here, and this is the one that we got to go and manipulate. So the command session that it is using is the step number 4 or the action number 4, which is perfect. That is why we had to add that step before. Now we need to go and write the command session. Well, what is the command? It's actually 2 simple things. Go and open up Microsoft Word and then open up that document that we created. So for that, I need to go and find where is that Word exe file. And it's a very important way to go and find that out. Now, in your desktop or laptop, it might be a little different, but more or less, it's in the same location. So let me go and actually show you where mine is, and it'll start making sense on yours. So I'm on the C drive, and I'm going on Program Files. In my Program Files, I go to Microsoft Office. Then I go on and Root. In root, you got to go and look for the Office 16, all right? Don't confuse that with 15. Go to 16, and over here, backslash, and go and start typing in WinWord. You see right there? That is the one, WinWord. Go ahead and grab that entire thing, Control-C, and I'll go ahead and just minimize this for now. And that is what is going to be my command prompt is now. I got to put this under my own double quotes, by the way, right? It's not going to automatically put in that single quotes. I need to put in this double quotes. And in between the double quotes, I'll go and now populate this path that we have. And then after that, go ahead and add the variable. Well, the variable is the var path file. Go ahead and get that in. So basically, I just click on the variable section. I'm going to put in the file path. I go and click on select. And there you go. It is going to go and open up Word. And then after that, it'll open up this document as well. This is the main reason that we had to put in these 2 commands. Open up the session, go ahead and write that session into a command prompt. And now it'll open up the Word and also go and open up that document. So I'll go and click on save. And as good stewards, we'll save the entire flow as well. Now we are done with adding these actions manually. The remaining number of actions are all going to be provided to us by the recorder. Now, granted, we'll go ahead and tweak it a little bit, but the recorder will do majority of the work. So for the recorder first to be there, I need to actually have the Word document open, the one that we created, because this is the place where we're going to start doing some recording as if we're going in and populating this information in. So I'll keep this also available over here, and then I'll go back to my Power Automate for desktop, and I'll go and click on the recorder. The recorder comes up because, as you can see, the Power Automate desktop software minimizes it, but the recorder comes up. And now I'm going to click on the recorder and start doing some recording. And each of these things will be done step by step. So let's go do that. All right, so I'm going to click on record. And as you can see now, when I hover over something, it is able to highlight the whole thing. And that's why the table one was so important. See, we can go ahead and put this as one column. We can go and get these as one column. It just makes the whole selection a lot more easier. So now let's go and pretend like we're actually typing something in. We'll go and tweak it later on, but let's at least pretend like we're typing something. So for the first name, when I click on it, I'll go and start typing in, say, Daniel, all right? After that, again, last name, click on it, so it'll start typing something. I'll go and type in Christian. Email address, again, pretend like you're doing something. So I'm going to say daniel@contoso.com. Put in a phone number. Phone number is going to be 123 123 1234. Address, I'll go and put in One Way Microsoft, again, city, state. I'll just pretend again I'm typing in something. So I'm going to say Redmond, Washington, 12345. Amount, I'll go and put in again. The important thing, pretend like you're doing something because we'll go and tweak it again. $100. Reason, I'll put, say, it's for youth. And then company, I'll just go and put in my company name. It's like CFCS, Incorporated, which stands for Christian Family Consulting Service. Now, we also have more stuff to do. We've got to go ahead and save it and then do a save as to PDF, but we'll do all that later. Right now, I just want to make sure, are we getting this information in our recording? So I'll just come over here and I'll click on done. And now we are back into our console. And as you can see, a whole new bunch of actions has been automatically added by the recorder. This is amazing. And you can always tell which one the recorder added because over here on step number or action number 6, it says start of auto-generated actions using the recorder. And if you scroll all the way to the bottom, there is the end of auto-generated actions. Now, I'll tell you this, we're going to go ahead and do some deleting, we're going to go and do some tweaking, and this is how we're going to do that. One of the important things is you need to know what it is that you're tweaking because you want to go ahead to the right, which is right over here, and you see all these elements, you want to go and name them. So you actually see what element did you name? Was it the first name? Was it the last name? It really helps to go ahead and have this data items to actually be replaced to something that makes sense. Here's how you do that. All right, so when we go and do a click UI element, that's when we actually went and clicked on a section. So for example, this one, for some reason when we were recording, we went ahead and clicked on that element twice. And it could also be that the recorder just went and did it automatically. Something happened and that's why there is a duplicate. However, for both of them, they were named as one UI element, which is the data item. You see there's data item over here, there's data item. So it is very safe to go ahead and now delete it. Now, if you are not comfortable with delete it, simply go ahead and do a right click and disable action. That way, for whatever reason, if that was the right one and you should not have deleted, you haven't lost it. All right, you just gone ahead and deleted it. Just gone ahead and disabled it. So for this one now, which is the data item, that was the one for the first name. And I can always tell that because when I went and actually typed in something, send the keys, it was Aniel, which was supposed to be Daniel. And if you're not sure, always go ahead and open up the document. Keep that document open. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and move it to my side so I can always refer to it. And that way you can see, okay, the first thing we typed was the first name. In that case, that was an Aniel, A-N-I-E-L. It should have been Daniel. But there you go. So I'm just going to keep this in the side so I can do my own referencing. All right. So I'll go and minimize this. But there you go. This first one should actually be the first name. So what I'll do is I'll come over here. I'll right click on that and I'll go and do an rename. And here's how I've been doing it. I go and put in the UI. So I know that this is a UI element. I put that UI prefix and then I go and type in first name. And that's basically what it is. So when I changed it over there, I changed it over here as well. Now, these other actions, wait 2 seconds, send the keys, wait 2 seconds, I don't need that. So what I can do again is I can just select all of these, I can delete it, or I can just right click on that and I can go ahead and disable these actions. Disabling is really good when you're still just making it because you don't lose it. If for whatever reason we actually needed that, then I'll go ahead and just keep it as is, okay? But for right now, I'm just going to keep that as is. Now, this one, send keys, I got to open this up because this annual, I'm going to go and replace that with the data from the custom form. But here you go, that custom form data, that's what it is, custom form. There is no expand in front of it. And there is no way for me to go and just see, hey, which one of this was just the first name. So here's the trick. I'll go ahead and select it. It shows up. And then after that, I need to go and type in whatever was that form element that we added in. So in case you're not sure, let's go back to that form again, right? So I'll go back to the form. I'll go ahead and open up the form. Remember, for each of these, we went ahead and added that ID. So this is it. This is how we go ahead and now reference each of those IDs in the recording section that we are putting in. So for example, this first name, its ID is first name, capital F, capital N, one word, all right? And so you're kind of catching the drift. There is the first name, there is the last name, phone number, email address, donation for. You see all of these things? They're all over here. So we're going to start doing that, okay? Start with the first name. That's the first name. So I'm going to cancel out of this one, cancel out over here, go back to that send keys. And in our send keys, I'm going to delete this one. I'm going to go and add our variable for the formula. I'll go and get the custom form selected. Inside the percent, right after form data, add in the dot, and then this is going to be first name, the exact same way we just saw that. And I'll go and click on save. And so now we are not actually sending some information in from what we typed, we are sending in the data from the custom form. So kind of catching the drift over here, what we did, same thing on this one now, UI elements. Come over here to the UI elements, that is data item number 2. If we looked at that Word document, we saw that it was actually the last name. And remember the custom form, how the variable we put in was last name, uppercase L, uppercase N. So I'll just go and minimize this, and then I'll come to the data item. In the data item number 2, right click, rename that, and I'm going to put that as UI last name. Okay, got that, hit enter. And then I'm going to go ahead and keep that as is. And then here, again, that wait 2 seconds, don't need it. Right click, I'll go ahead and disable that. And then the send keys, again, this one is a double because I put in the control C. So I don't even need that send key. I don't need this key. I don't need this send key. I'll highlight them both. I'll go ahead and disable that. This is for the Christian. So I'll double click on that one. I'll delete that section. Go ahead and get the variable, which is the custom form data. Click on select. Go inside the percent dot, and it is called as last name, right? Click on save, and there you go. So now we went and created the first name, the last name. So you're kind of understanding what is going on over here. We just need to go ahead and manipulate them all. Now it does get a little interesting for something like the email address, because even though the email address was typed in as one way, the recorder saw that as multiple ones. And so you can see what that means. Right over here in the UI element 1, there is the data item 3, which we should go ahead and now rename that to the UI, and this is the email. So I'll put that in. But you see there's a whole lot of going on over here, right? So there's a wait 2 items. I'll right click that and I'll disable that action. But then there is the send items for Daniel. Wait 2 seconds. Then there's the send items for the at for the email. Wait another 2 seconds. And then there's the Contoso. So there's just a lot going on. What I'm going to do is actually, I'm just going to go ahead and highlight this one, the 21, 22, 23, and the 24. I'll highlight them and I'll go ahead and disable these actions because I can just work with this one over here, actually line number 20. So I'll just double click that. I'll go ahead and delete this one. I'll go ahead and get our formula, and our formula is going to be from the current form data, and I'll go ahead and put that in, and this is going to be email. So we'll get the full email address and click on save. So we are moving along really well. Next thing is data item number 4. That is a phone number. So I'm going to select this one, and data item number 4, I'm going to right click on that, click on rename. I'm going to call that as UI, and I'll put that as phone number. Okay. And then I'll disable the wait 2 seconds because I don't need that. Double click on send keys, delete this text, but replace it with the variable custom form data. Go inside it, and then this also was phone number. Okay. Click on save, and then data item number 5. For some reason, when we were doing recording, you see the click UI element. It recorded as data item number 5, so that's the element. But then it did it 3 times. So this is something that you're going to see a lot in the future. Is that the recorder by no means is perfect. it over anticipates or it's a little sensitive. However, this is the place where you do some cleaning up. And the cleaning up, I remember, first, don't delete it, disable it. And once the flow runs successfully, then go ahead and delete it, okay? So I'm just gonna go ahead and now highlight these two because we don't need that. In fact, the wait 2 seconds, again, we don't need that. And by the way, what is it that we are saving over here anyway? Oh, I remember, this was the actual address. You know, see the address, so we went and typed in the one-way Microsoft Street or something like that. That's the one. So I'm gonna now make sure that I will just have one of them selected, which is the data item number 5. By the way, data item number 5, let's go ahead and replace that to UI, and that is address. So we got that correct. It's a UI address. I'll go ahead and highlight this one now because that's a duplicate. That's a duplicate. We don't need to wait. What I'll do is I'll go ahead and right click on this one and I'll disable this action. We will use this send keys only. So I can disable 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, and even 38. I can right click on that and go ahead and disable that action. I'm just going to use 32. Double click on that one and I'll highlight that. I'll put in the formula, which is the custom form data, and go inside the percent dot, and that's going to be address, ADDRESS. Click on that. Also at this time, it's a good point for me to go ahead and click on save. So I'll just make sure I save it. And we are moving forward. Okay, so what is this data item 6? Well, we go back to the form over here. That was the city, state, and zip. Well, when we did the custom form, which was the one right here, we actually went ahead and put that in as 3 separate entries, which was the city, state, and zip. So we need to be a little bit cautious about this one, okay? So let's go back in first, and that, what was it? It was the number 6. So first things first, I'm gonna click on that 6. Oops, where did it go? Right here, it clicks. The data item 6, I'm gonna rename that first of all to the UI. That was city, state, zip. So that way we know what that is. And then after that, I need to go ahead and only do one of these sends, but I gotta be real careful. So first of all, let me just make sure I grab all of them, which I don't need. So wait to this one, which is 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46. I don't need any of them. I'll right click that, I'll disable it, but this is where we gotta go and do some manipulation. Now, just for me to be sure, I'm gonna scroll up again one more time and I'm gonna go back to our custom form data. In the custom form data, I need to get the names correct. So the city one is just city, then there is the state, and then there is the zip, because I'm gonna be adding these all together. You'll see what I mean. So I'm gonna X out of that, I'm gonna go all the way to the down, and that's going to be for the UI address. We got that. This one, use UI city state zip. I'll open up this one for send keys. I'll get into it, delete all this stuff, put this one over here, formula for the current form data, and then this is what it's going to be, dot city. After that, I'll put in my own dash, and then I'll go ahead and grab this one again, the same form, okay? And then that is going to be the dot state. After that, get outside the permission, the percent, click on the dash, and then I'll put in again the same one, custom form data, and then I'll put that in. That's the city, state, and then we get the zip, and I'll put that in as save. Cool. It'll start making sense when we even show the recording. Okay, so let's move forward. All right, so we did the city, state, and zip. We did that. So this is only three more things left: amount, reason, and company. So I'll just minimize these things over here. So the data item number 7, if you go all the way down, that was 100. So that was actually the amount that we put in. So this is an easy one. Let's go back to data item number 7 over here. Rename that to UI amount. I'll change that. We don't need the wait 2 seconds. I'm going to right click on that and disable the action. Send keys, that we have to change. So open that up, double click on it, delete the 100, but go ahead and get the actual value. And that value is coming from the custom form data. Go inside the percent, and that's going to be the amount. Click on save. All right, it's moving forward. Click UI. This again is a duplicate. So I'll go and disable this action. This one, data item, I betcha that is going to be the actual amount towards. So what I mean by that is the reason, all right? And just to make sure, I'll actually go up again to our form just to see what did I name that ID. So I'll go back into our custom form, open that up, go take a look at the custom form designer, and that's where it was. It was the amount, but it was the donation for and then the company name. So it was for donation for. In the youth, which you will see down, that falls under donation for. Okay, so I'm going to X out of that, scroll all the way down because I got to go and find that one. There we go, data item number 8. It was this one. So the data item number 8, I'm going to rename that one here to UI donation for. And then I will go and select that. This one, I don't need that action, so I'll go and disable that action. This one, I think that's the one I'll use. So I can go ahead and now delete this one, and I'll go and get our current form data. And that current form data, inside it, it is going to be the donation for. Okay, selected that. Okay, wait 2 seconds. This one I don't need 55, 56, and even the 57. Don't need any of those. So I've selected them, high click, disable action. And I think we're on to the last one. The last one is from the donation whom, which is the company. We've got some duplicates going on over here. So I'll right click on that one and I'll go and disable that action. And then there's multiple coming in all the way to the end. So I'll just select all these, right click that, rename this data item number 9. I'll go ahead and rename that one all the way to UI company. Okay, and then I'll come to the last send, open that, delete the NC, and then here I'll go and put in the current form data, and then it's coming from company. Click on save. And just to be sure, I'll scroll up again just to double check my forms and just to make sure that I've got all those IDs correct. Yep, the last name was the company name. That was the label, I mean, that was the ID that I put over here. So I gotta be really careful because over here, I only put in the UI company. Let me just rename that so I can match the UI name to the variable. So in the future, when I come troubleshooting, I know what it is. Plus, I gotta come back to that action as well and double check that. So let me scroll all the way down. See, I just put in this company. That needs to be company name, okay? So I'll click on save. I'll click on save over here just to be good stewards. And this is the time where we can actually start doing some tests. So just to make sure that everything is good, let me just go ahead and first close this thing out. Everything else is looking good. So I'll just scroll all the way to the top and I'll click on run. And now let's see what happens. We got the current time, so the form opened up. So let's start filling up this form, okay? So I'm gonna go and say, Daniel, I'll say Christian, phone number 123 123 1234. This needs to be accurate because this data is what's going to go ahead and fill into the actual Word document. All right, so I'm going to now here come and say john@contoso.com. Here 123 Microsoft Way, Redmond, Washington 12345. Amount 100. Donation for say youth ministry company CFCS, comma INC. And I'll click on OK. Okay, so now it's opened up the Microsoft Word document, all right? And now it's going to start typing in everything. By the way, my hands are up. So it's doing all of this automatically, right? It's taking the data that we went and filled in the custom form, but now using the actual recording that we did, it's populating all this information in, all right? And so it automatically went and completed that. The reason I guess it didn't put that in, we may have missed that. We'll go take a look at it, but you get the overall idea. And the flow, as you can see on the bottom, was accurate. We didn't get any errors. So now the only remaining steps is for us to go ahead and do a save as to PDF, and then we are done. So let's go finish that. All right, so I'm going to click on record. Recorder comes up and we're going to start the recording. So I'll click on record. I'll click on file. So when the file comes up, we'll do a save as. In the save as, give it a name, any name, right? Some change that we're going to make. So I'm going to just call this as test. And then after that, I'll click on the drop down right here, click on it, and then we're going to select PDF. So we selected PDF, click on OK, right? So make sure that changes because sometimes it hasn't changed yet. See, that doc didn't change. So I'm going to select that again and make sure I got the PDF, okay? Now I got it. I'll go and click on save. And then once you do the save, this should open up. It automatically opens up a browser. I'm going to leave that as is because it looks nice. But what I also have to do is click on this X over there. I'm going to X out of that. And it will go ahead and close our document of the Word file. All right. So it did went on that. Now I'll go and click on done. And when we're back in the console, you will see this new start of auto-generated actions using the recorder. So a whole bunch of new steps has been recorded. What we can do is we can take this 69. We can go and delete that. because there's duplicates created over here, right? So we can also delete the 68 and delete that because this is all happening out side by side. Now let's also go and see there's some duplicates created. So the press button in Windows 68, 69, these are duplicates. So I'll just right click on this one. I'll go and disable that action. File type was correct. Save as was correct. Enter file name. This is the one that we want to change. So I'll click on this, and we want to go and get the names from the custom form plus the date and time that we have. This date and time we are going to get from the variable right on the top. See that current date and time, which is set to current date time variable. We're going to leverage that. So I'm going to quickly scroll down, come back to the step number 71, open that up, and let's go and put in our file name. So I'll X that out. I click on the X, and then from the custom form, I'm going to select that, and I'm going to go and grab our first name. So that's going to be the first name. I'll go and put in another dash. I'll go and grab in the last name, put that in. Oh, actually, I'll put the first name dot company name. Let's get the company name dot company name, and then after that, I'll put in another dash, and then we put our date. So the date, when we have the current date and time, it gives you a bunch of options. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go and grab the year for now. I'll select that, and I'll go and click on save. So now we've got our custom file name also created. Next, 72, save it as a PDF. That's great. Selected the PDF, did a save as, save, and close. Okay, all of that looks good. Let's go and click on save. Be good stewards of save. Let's do a run, and if everything looks good, we should be in good shape. So I'm going to go and click on run. And the first thing that comes up is the custom form. So let me go and type my information in. Daniel Christian. Put in my phone number. Email test at contoso.com. Address 123 South Boulevard. I'll put that as Redmond, Washington 12345. Amount 100. Donation for youth. Company CFCS, incorporated. Click on OK. First thing opens up is the Word document. Perfect. Automate process kicks in. All the information is put up over here. Got my hands up just in case you want to prove that. Population is going through great. All the elements are being filled in. Amount, company, the reason and the company comes in last. Now, file, save as, go ahead and put in the name. See, the name came in perfectly. Picking up the file type PDF, doing a save, and then it goes and populates that, and I'll go and click a save as well, and we are done. On the bottom left, you see that it was status is good, it is ready. If I go and open up the documentation, there we go. We have our PDF file created automatically thanks to the robotic process automation system we built. Wasn't that fun? In less than an hour, you build the entire robotic process automation to go ahead and take a custom form information, automatically put that into a Microsoft Word document, and then export that as a PDF, a full PDF document that you can use for any reasons whatsoever. This is amazing. Remember, all of this was done with no code whatsoever. You can go ahead and do the exact same. So hopefully this video gave you some ideas on how you can go and automate so many of these processes which you have to face in your day-to-day world. And as always, keep using Power Automate robotic process automation system. Hello. So if you like this video, go ahead and click on that subscribe button and smash that like button. Also, if you have a few extra seconds, can you go and put in a comment? Either say something nice or give me ideas for my next video. And until then, see ya.